didn't always do podcasts, but I was originally I always wanted to make movies when I was
used to
young.
call it Concrete. Why was it called?
It was called Concrete. So okay, I'll tell you. It was first of all, I always wanted to make movies when I was a little kid. I was telling Jamie the story earlier. I was going to go to Full Sail where Jamie went in Florida, in Orlando, but it was just, I didn't have the money to do it, and I couldn't get into UCX. My grades were shit in high school. So luckily, I got the opportunity to work on this movie called Dolphin Tale. It was a movie about a dolphin who got its tail stuck in a crab trap, and Morgan Freeman came in and built a prosthetic tail, and it was swimming around in the aquarium. Cary Connick Jr. and Morgan Freeman were in it, and it was like a big, Warner Brothers movie. And I realized, working as a camera production assistant on that movie, it was my film school, but I realized I did not want anything to do with making movies, because it was the closest thing I ever experienced to working construction. It was like I was in charge of swapping the camera lenses, the camera batteries, taking the SD cards back to the media truck, getting everybody breakfast and coffee. And these dudes, these camera department dudes, a lot of them were really cool. Like the dude Pete Zuccarini, who was the underwater cinematographer who filmed all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. He was fucking awesome. But a lot of the other guys were like really unhappy, like deeply unhappy, because they never saw their families. They were always on the road, FaceTime, a lot of them on their like third, fourth wives, FaceTiming their kids. And it was like, they were like carnies with dental plans. They made great money, but they were fucking deeply unhappy. So like I realized I didn't want to make movies anymore. So I started an advertising company and making commercials. And I started doing like spec ads and like winning a bunch of contests to make commercials. I won one big contest for Land Rover USA where we made like a free ad, and they paid us to make a bunch of other ads for them. And then that's where Concrete came in. So it was called something else, and I got sued by some advertising company in California saying, hey bitch, you can't use this name anymore, change your name. So my friend who owns a concrete construction company said, bro, there's this really cool website domain for sale with concrete with a K. He's like, it's like a couple $1,000, you should buy it. I was gonna buy it. I'm like, sure, fuck yeah, let's do it. So I called my company Concrete. Stupid. And then
And how'd you start a podcast?
So after the advertising stuff, I met a bunch of people. I met Hulk Hogan in the process of the whole advertising thing, because me and Hulk live like 5 minutes from each other, and which is like 5 minutes from the Church of Scientology, which is great. And I started making a bunch of commercials with him, because he would always have companies that would hit him up and say, yo, let's partner on this new product. And one of them was a hosting company called Hostomania. They wanted to make Hulk the face of the company. And we created this whole fucking thing where it was like right when Miley Cyrus dropped the Wrecking Ball video, and we put Hulk on a wrecking ball. We're like, yo, Hulk, we want to put you on a wrecking ball and have you freaking drop kick Van Damme, who's like the GoDaddy guy, right? And he's like, fuck yeah, brother, let's do it. This is it. It was poor execution, but it was funny. And he's like, brother, there's only one thing missing from this commercial idea. I'm like, what? He's like, I need to be in my birthday suit. I was like, what? So we did that, and then I started working on a bunch of like this was like the boom of reality shows when like Duck Dynasty and Pawn Stars were all taking off. So I was like, I could probably fucking make a reality show. So I hit up a bunch of my friends, and we started like touring around trying to find people to come up with like TV show ideas and concepts. And I got a couple people to invest in a couple TV show ideas, pilots that I spent like 6 years working on. And it was this long process of shooting, editing, taking notes from production companies that, you have to, how this works, but you have to like work with production companies who already have relationships with networks. Mm-hmm. And they were like constantly giving us notes like, okay, change this for A&E, change this for Spike TV. And we got to make sure it fits each network, because we're pitching these shows to all these networks. I was like, okay, great. So it was just this roller coaster of emotions of like, oh my God, we're going to sell a TV show. We're going to do a TV show. And then finally we got one of those shows to a green light meeting at Spike TV or A&E. And like, I was like, this is it. We're going to do it. And the CEO of Viacom killed it, because it did not fit their roster of existing advertisers. And I was just like so frustrated and fed up with it. I was like, fuck this. I'm taking all this stuff that I've been working on, and I'm gonna repackage them and put them on YouTube. And I did. And the first one that really took off got millions of views in like 2015. It was called Deckhands. And it was the story of these alcoholic dudes, these drunks that were hanging out in front of 7-Eleven in this little sleepy town called Madeira Beach, where I'm from. So me and my buddy Luke went up and we started filming these guys and asking them questions like, yo, what the fuck do you guys do here every day? And they're like, we're fucking fishermen, bro. Come see how we live. And one of these dudes took us back to his boat he lived on. He had this broken down boat in this old dusty marina where the boat didn't work, but he lived in this boat and it had amplifiers stacked to the ceiling. He had a stack of porno DVDs like 6 feet tall, laser light machines, fog machines, and he wore these fairy wings and like an armor helmet. And he would jam out to like Rob Zombie on his guitar while playing the music videos on this big projection screen in his boat. And we're like, this is fucking the Twilight Zone, dude. And then they started telling us more and more about like what they do. This is it. Yeah, this is the first episode. The Gates of Hell. This is Shane Lee. R.I.P. So we're asking these guys about like, what do you, like, you're fishermen, but like, explain to me, how does this work? And they were all pissed off about, oh, we're getting screwed by the boat owners and these IFQs and we don't make any money. And, you know, we're like, dude, there might be a story here. So we started interviewing more people. We eventually interviewed the people who own the boats and own the fish houses. So like Madeira Beach is Johns Pass, Florida is the grouper capital of the world. There's more grouper caught there than anywhere in the world. And the way it works is before 2007, there was a quota system where it was like for red snapper, it was like 3 million pounds per year are allowed to be caught in this area, right? So it was like derby fishing. So all the boats would go out and they would catch as much fish as they possibly could, and they would wait when they get back from their trip, and then they would, you know, quantify that or you know, tell the federal government this is where we're at. And sometimes they would reach that 3 million pound limit in like October. So what do they have to do for the rest of the year? They stop fishing. They can't do anything. So in 2007, the federal government made a monopoly where they gave boat owners an allotment of fishing quota per year. So some guys got 100,000 pounds, some guys got 200,000 pounds, which is, if it's red snapper, that's $1 a pound. So that's like the best retirement plan known to man. The federal government is handing you 200,000 pounds of red snapper quota per year. And then what happened was eventually the boat owners sold off their quota, and now it's become so discombobulated where now like you can just buy this fishing quota and trade it like stock. You don't have to own a boat, you don't have to be a fisherman, you could just be some dude sitting in Manhattan in a high rise and buying and selling fishing quota. You're not, and there are like fishing communities in America, like in the Northeast, where it doesn't work like that, where you have to have your hand on the throttle, you have to take care of your people, and it's a lifestyle, and it's like a way to live, it's a culture. And where in Madeira Beach, at least when I was there filming, they were all just like carny ride operators, you know.
Wow.
And these dudes were, and the lowest level of this fishing industry are those deckhands, those dudes like Shane Lee, and they're fucking drug addicts. A lot of them are hooked on heroin. What happens is they get home from fishing from 10 days of fishing offshore, and they get like $4,000 or $5,000, and they blow it all on prostitutes and coke and hookers and heroin. And they're kids, dude. They're like kids.
Right.
They're like kids with money. And by the time they run out, they have to go fishing again. So they're going to all the fish houses saying, bro, let me go. So they go offshore again and they rehab, where they rehab at sea for 10 days because they have no more drugs.
Wow.
And they come back and then rinse and repeat. And one of the people that we interviewed, there was 3 main characters in that series. There was Shane Lee, there was Space, and then there was Hollywood Kim. And Hollywood Kim was the last episode, which was sometimes when I think I have problems in my life, I remember her story and realize I don't really know what fucking problems are. She was from Alabama, and when she was 17 years old, she gave birth to her father's son.
Oh, God.
And when she was 6 years old, she would wake up every morning and ride her bike to the beach to try to escape her dad. And no one would believe her.
Jesus Christ.
She tried telling people. And no one would believe her because her dad was a cop.
Oh, God.
So she eventually gave birth to her son and escaped to Florida and became a deckhand working fishing and working on these boats, dude. And she was just, I met her and she would wake up every morning and just start slamming vodka and looking for drugs. And dude, it was just the Twilight Zone in my own backyard. Wow. It was nuts. And then that led to like podcasts. Like, so after that, then we're just like, oh, let's start doing podcasts in between these documentaries, you know, more content. And the podcast started to get more views than the documentaries, and here we are.
Well, I'm glad it happened. You got a great show, man.
Thanks, bro.
I appreciate you coming on here, man. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Let's do it again, for sure.
Hell yeah, bro.
Danny Jones Show is on YouTube.
Yep.
Are you on Spotify as well?
Yeah, YouTube,
everywhere?
Spotify. It's just at Danny Jones on YouTube. And same with Instagram.
It's an awesome show.
That's it, baby.
Lots of fun stuff on there. All right.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.